Obi-Wan Kenobi finished up its story with a huge finale that wrapped up all our plotlines in a neat little bow and set everything straight for A New Hope. The episode, as predicted by me, does indeed pick up with our heroes being tracked by Vader in a very Last Jedi, Empire Strikes Back inspired cat and mouse game between a Star Destroyer and a smaller ship. This leads Ben to realize to probably help the people he is with, he needs to bait Vader away and finally confront him. Doing so leads Obi-Wan, Kenobi and Darth Vader to face off for one final time before episode 4 on the planet Tassem, a rocky, stormy planet that gives me very big Crate vibes. In fact, the entirety of their fight reminds me a lot of not just Luke and Kylo's battle in The Last Jedi, but also Anakin and Obi-Wan's in episode 3, and Vader and Ahsoka's in Rebels. While this plot is happening, a secondary plot involving Reva going back to Tatooine to find Owen Lars and find Vader's child is happening, leading to Owen and Beru taking up arms against the injured, conflicted ex-Inquisitor. I love the characters finally getting involved in the story and standing their ground, something that they know was going to happen sooner or later, and I like that they are as prepared as they can be to fight against someone who is probably going to have the Force as well as a lightsaber. I also like that continuity was not broken and Luke never saw Reva with her ignited lightsaber, only ever seeing a tall black cloaked figure, which could easily be a Tusken like what Beru told him it was. Obi-Wan and Vader's fight is obviously the centerpiece for the entire episode, and it goes all out, with Obi-Wan realizing he will need to face and kill Vader to finally be done with it all, and thanks to him slowly building back his skills and power over the show, it culminates in a brilliant part where he kinda just re-accepts who he is and lets the Force flow through him again, leading to an epic display of Force power against Vader, who thanks to this is actually almost killed, and we get the awesome cracked helmet shot we've seen in a number of different things from the comics to Rebels, video games. Not only does this give us a final look at Hayden Christensen in the suit, but also delivers a final piece of important information between Obi and Anakin, where Obi finally realizes that Anakin is truly dead and Darth Vader was the one who killed him. Again, harkening back to the line he mentions in A New Hope where Darth Vader killed Anakin Skywalker and how it was kind of true from a certain point of view. It was an utterly masterful piece of the episode, and Ewan and Hayden acted the shit out of it, and it makes me pine for a what if the prequels actually had some decent writing behind them, and what these two could have done with some actually good meaty dialogue all those years ago. Now, they aren't the only characters who get some really cool stuff happening this episode, as Reva was probably the most surprising this episode, as her arc went how I thought, with her going after the Lars and Luke, but what I didn't expect was her to actually survive. And my line of thought was that either Owen or Beru will get a lucky shot in and she'll like die because she was already kind of wounded and it'll just be kind of sad and everything. But I like how she ended up living and kind of realizing she was becoming exactly like Vader, the thing she wanted to destroy. So I like that she's still out there. We can maybe see her in something else. Maybe she might even get a show of her own, because there is still a lot we can do with this character. Like, we can explore how she was recruited into the Inquisitorius, and even what they are doing in the years leading up to the OT and even during the original trilogy. Moses Ingram was an absolute treasure to watch as the character, and I thoroughly enjoyed the arc she had over these 6 episodes since it was just so fresh and new, and I liked that she hated both Obi-Wan and Vader. I thought that was quite a different take on the whole hate either one thing. Why not hate both? As for Leia, she is indeed returned to Alderaan by Kumail Nanjiani's character, and we get one final scene between her and Obi on the planet where it's just so heartfelt and warm, and it's kind of a little bit sad because when you think about it, this is the last time they see each other until A New Hope, where she only sees him across the docking bay about to be killed by Darth Vader, so it's kind of bittersweet and sad. All through the show we've seen Leia be inspired by people like Obi and Tala, while also inspiring them back, and it's only fitting she ends the show with Tala's blaster holster, which along with the gloves that Obi bought her in the first 2 episodes, and some very Jedi-like boots, she adapts into her sort of style of clothing, which is kind of a visual signpost that she's been inspired by these people and will use the things that she's seen them do to help inspire her to become a leader that we see her become in the original trilogy and then the sequel trilogy. Finally, Obi-Wan's return to Tatooine sees him flow into what we've seen in the Marvel Comics side of things as he moves into the Judland Wastes, into that house we see in the original trilogy, and he's even wearing the costume he wears on the front cover of Star Wars issue 15 by Jason Aaron. It's here we also get a few bits of wrap up as Owen, grateful for Kenobi's help, allows him to interact with Luke and have their first meeting, which is where we get the good hello there, you know, the meme. It's also here that we get some cool little cameos. Firstly, of course, is Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn, who appears to Obi-Wan as a Force ghost and sort of alludes to him teaching Obi-Wan the mysteries of the Force, which he's going to do in the Judland Wastes. And he's not the only little cameo, as Palpatine also appears a little bit earlier in the episode to briefly chide Vader for hanging on to the past, which was a nice little bit of connective tissue to Kylo Ren's drive for wanting to forget the past and destroy it and kill it. With the season now finished, I'm sure a lot of people will come to appreciate it in the way I have over these last 6 weeks, with all of these wonderful characters, some getting reinvigorated by great new writing, character development, as well as some fun little action sequences sprinkled throughout. Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 6 was the perfect endpoint for Obi-Wan's adventures between movies. It deepened the characters a lot more than the movies did and introduced some new interesting characters and set them up for possible futures within the franchise, and more importantly, at least to me, it ended with kind of like a full stop and a actual endpoint, which is hopefully kept, since I believe a season 2 probably would diminish the characters a little bit if we keep having all these adventures that take Obi-Wan off planet and getting embroiled and all these sorts of stuff. So if this is the true ending to the series and to the character, I'm more than happy. I'm going to give this episode a 10 out of 10.